Hey guys, Ambience here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to beat Night 2 on Five Nights at Freddy's 4. There is actually quite a bit of a jump in difficulty between Night 1 and 2, probably the biggest increase in difficulty between those nights of any game in the entire series. I think the biggest reason that a lot of players struggle with this night is because of Nightmare Foxy. There's a lot of false information surrounding Foxy and how he works, and it can be very confusing trying to figure out what's true and what isn't. So in this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about Foxy and how you should be dealing with him. Also, sorry for not uploading for a while, guys. I was very busy this weekend, but I should be able to make guides on a more consistent basis now. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. By the way, a small tip that I wanted to give you guys real quick is as soon as you load into a night, you should be immediately running to the left door, going back, turning around and checking the bed, and then running to the right door. The reason that we're doing this is for whatever reason, these zones take longer to load the first time that you get into a night, so you do want to load those as soon as possible. If you go back and notice how long it took me to load the bed back there compared to right now, then you'll see that there is quite a noticeable difference. So it's just good to load those things as soon as possible so that you can get to them as quick as possible when you need to. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about Nightmare Foxy. So Nightmare Foxy, he actually works quite a bit differently than any other animatronic in the game. A lot of players seem to think that he starts in the closet. This is not true. He actually starts in the halls where Bonnie and Chica are. Unlike Bonnie and Chica, however, he is not confined to one hall. He will run back and forth between them. You can hear the pitter-patter of his footsteps going back and forth the entire night. So I'm going to go ahead and play a sound clip of those now so you know what they sound like. Alright, there we go. So if you hear that, then that is the sound of Foxy running from one hallway to another. You can tell which hallway if you have a decent pair of headphones just by listening if it goes over to the left or the right. Speaking of which, by the way, I would highly recommend getting a decent pair of headphones if you are going to try to play FNAF 4 at a top level. It is extremely important to be able to hear the direction of sound cues. Not just sound cues, but which direction they're coming from. That's extremely important on later nights, so I would highly recommend getting a good pair of headphones. So yeah, Foxy spends most of the night just running back and forth. On later nights, then he does start doing that very early at 12 a.m. But on nights like night 2, then it may take him a little while to actually start running back and forth. So you don't really need to pay a ton of attention to this. You just need to know how he works. I think it's only really important for later nights that you, like night 6 onward, for example, you're going to need to know where he is at all times and what these sound cues mean. So I just wanted to go ahead and explain them now. I'll go a little bit more in depth when we actually need to, like on night 6, night 7, night 8, something like that. So yeah, Foxy runs back and forth between the hallways for most of the night, especially on later nights. And most of the time he just goes back and forth between the hallways, but sometimes he will walk closer. You can hear this if the sound cue of him running plays louder and it's on the same side that it was last time it played. That means he has moved closer to the door. So what this means is that the next time you go up to the door and you shine the flashlight, Foxy will be at the end of the hall, and you can shine the flashlight to ward him off. Foxy never jump scares you at the doors, by the way, so don't worry about that. You just have to worry about Bonnie and Chica, which is why you listen for breathing every time. However, if you do turn around to the bed, run to the closet, or run to the opposite door of where Foxy is currently at after he moves up, then he will enter the room and he will be in the closet the next time that you go back to the main area. You can tell when he's in the closet because when you go to the opposite door, you'll hear footsteps followed by the sound of a door creaking, meaning that he has entered the closet. When you go back to the room, you will also see the closet door. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like open and then it closes. So you can tell when he's in the closet. There's a lot of sound cues and a lot of visual cues that show you he's there, and only then do you need to actually start checking the closet. So the goal is to keep Foxy out of the room for as long as possible. You don't have to actively worry about this on night 2, but on a later night, like night 6, then you definitely do need to worry about it. I heard Chica breathing there, by the way. That's why I closed the door. You always need to pay attention to that. Even if you're worried about getting jump scared, you do need to have your volume pretty high so you can hear the breathing sound. If you don't know what it sounds like yet, then you'll find out through your own gameplay. Or if you prefer, then you can just look up what the sound cue is. Or I played it, I think, in the middle of my last guide on night 1. So I would highly recommend going to check that out, especially if you haven't actually beaten night 1 yet. In which case, I don't really know why you're watching this guide right now. But anyway, that's besides the point. So yeah, the goal is to keep Foxy out of the room for as long as possible, so when you hear him run up real close to a door, then you are going to want to go to that door as soon as possible, even if you just checked it. Don't worry about Bonnie and Chica getting super close. There is a chance that they can appear and grab you in the room, But you have to not check that door for a pretty long time, and they're not very aggressive on night 2, so I wouldn't worry about it that much. So yeah, you just want to keep Foxy out of the room as long as possible. He does end up getting in the room here, which I'm actually kind of glad about because I get to show you guys what it looks like. Yeah, so the pattern that you're going to want to follow is the same on night 1. Just do door, bed, door, bed. It doesn't really matter what door and what order. I just like to start with the left one. I think Foxy enters the room pretty close here. Let's see. Nope, not quite yet. Yeah, so you just want to do door, bed, and keep that up until Foxy does get in the room. Then you're going to switch it up a bit. You're going to do door, bed, door, closet. So I like to do left door, bed, right door, closet. So when you run up to the closet, here's what you're going to do. You don't need to listen for any sound cues. You're immediately going to press Control and shine the flashlight into the closet. Here you can check Foxy's progress. I saw him enter the closet. You can rewind if you want to see what that looks like and sounds like. So here I go ahead and run up to the closet since I know he's there. I shine a light and I see him crouching in the closet, so I immediately hold shift and close the door. Depending on what stage he's at, then that determines how long you're going to want to keep the door closed. I only kept it closed for a few seconds there because he was only on stage 2. So the last thing I'm going to run through is the different stages of Foxy real quick. Stage 1, he is a harmless plushie. That is the most non-threatening, I guess, is the way to put it, form that he can possibly be in, so I wouldn't worry about that. If you see the plushie in the closet, then there's no need to close the door at all. If you see him simply standing in the back of the closet, like right there, go ahead and rewind if you want to see what that looks like again. That is stage 2. I only kept the closet door shut for about 1 to 2 seconds. That should be enough, maybe a little bit longer on later nights, but 1 to 2 seconds generally, maybe 3 if you really want to, should be fine. Stage 3, he will look a lot like Stage 2, except he's crouching in the closet, so you can see his bent knees. In that case, you're going to want to keep it closed for probably about 3 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds. And then Stage 4 is him peeking out of the closet, so if you see his face there, but he doesn't snap at you, that's Stage 4. Keep it closed for about 5 seconds. And if he does snap at you and make the beginning of the jump scare sound, that is the final phase. He's very close to attacking you, so you're going to want to keep the door shut for about 8 seconds. So those are all of the stages of Foxy. So you want to keep him out of the room for as long as possible, but it's not something you should really be actively concerned about on night 2. I think it is more important to get experience running up to the doors and listening for breathing. So yeah, it's basically just night 1, except Nightmare Foxy is active and the other animatronics, especially Bunny and Chica, are a bit more aggressive. So I would recommend checking out my night 1 guide if you don't know what all of the sound cues are yet. I covered sound cues extensively, and I think it will be very helpful to you if you are new to FNAF 4, even if you have already gotten past night 1. So I'll go ahead and put that in the cards up there right now. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching this guide. I hope it helped you, and I'll see you in the next one.